Hey guys, how y'all doing? This is Hackett. Today we'll be talking about payloads and how do they work, what are they supposed to be doing, how to make one, and how to gain access to the computer, target's computer. So let's just start with what is a payload? That's the most basic thing I can tell you about payloads. It's going to be on the slide. I'm going to help y'all understanding the definition of payload and what they do. So let's start with it's a malicious code. It's just a file that contains a malicious code. When it gets to the target machine, it executes and you gain access to the target's machine. Now that machine could derive from a laptop, an Android phone, a computer, a MacBook, it doesn't matter. You can make a backdoor for all of those. So yeah, as I said, it contains a certain code that allows the attacker to gain full access to the target's machine. And we can use that payload to send us a session back on Metasploit. If you guys don't know about Metasploit, it's a framework that helps us, uh, run exploits on a certain vulnerability. And Metasploit is also used to generate payloads, but there are many other ways to generate payloads. Metasploit is not the only one. But if you're new to Metasploit and Kali Linux in general, Metasploit is the best option of choice. So let's move on. Okay, how do we generate a payload? Generating a payload is simple using Metasploit. You just type in a certain command, it gives us out a file, and then we use social engineering to transfer that payload to a target's machine. Now that can be on you, how your brain works and what kind of situation you want to put yourself in to get the payload inside the machine you want to gain access to. For example, if you are trying to put the payload in your friend's computer, that I don't suggest, because if you don't have the permission you can get punished for that. Let's just say a friend who allows you to trick him into putting the payload into his computer. So what would you do is, per se, you will make a fake website and put a file in there, and you spoof their DNS to whenever they open a certain website. Let's just say for per se Google, they redirect back to the fake website you made, and it prompts them to, hey, the system needs an update, and they click on it, they install the file, and there you go. You have the full access of the machine because they have no idea what just happened, and you are sitting at your home have the full access on the target's computer machine. You can do it many other ways. Let's just say you take a USB, buy a rubber ducky, and you plug it in for 15 seconds into your friend's computer, and you plug it out. It executes the whole code for you. It downloads and saves and runs the file, the payload for you, and you have full access. Okay, so metapredator session. Now that's just a very important thing. So once we make a payload, we specify a listening host. The listening host is our machine, the computer we made the payload on, and the computer we want to gain. We want to run the commands from. So that's your personal laptop or computer or Android phone or whatever you're using, and you type in the L host, and then you put in L port. L port is the port you want to listen back to. L host is the listening host, and L port is the listening port. So per se, you just say 444. That's the one I use. So 4444 is your port you want to listen back to. And the last and the most difficult thing about payloads is that they always get detected by the antivirus software. It's really hard to get through that antivirus. It is possible, but mostly there's a 90% chance of you getting detected by the antivirus. So yeah, it is what it is. There's always new stuff coming out you can try, and Microsoft keeps patching Windows and getting rid of the old vulnerabilities they had. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, gaining admin access. So once you have the payload working on your target's computer, you have the full access of the machine. Well, that depends on if your friend is running as a admin on the computer or just a simple user. If he is running as an admin, you have the full admin access on the computer. You can execute various commands on the target machine. Like, per se, you want to take a screenshot of what they're doing, just type in a command, press enter, and it gives you a screenshot. Let's just say you want to disable their keyboard and mouse, you can do that. Just type in a code and press enter. They won't be able to use their keyboard and mouse for a certain time. Or let's just say you want to get inside their head and gain access to their webcam. You know, you can start a whole live video of the person and save it and then send it to them and tell them like how vulnerable their computer is, and they should fix it before. Like, let's just say you're the person who they trust and your friend, and you can tell them like, you got to fix this up. It could have been anybody else. There's a lot more you can do. You can make new files, you can delete files, you can install stuff, download stuff, run music, restart the computer. Okay, the last one is making payload persistence. Okay, so once you install a payload and the person restarts the computer, the payload won't launch by itself. So there's a certain script you have to write in the MSF console. When the metaplotter session is running, you have to type in a certain script and execute it. Once that has been executed, whenever the computer restarts, the payload will start with the boot up of the machine. And every time they log in, you'll have the full admin control again. The session will come back to your local IP. Okay, generating undetectable payloads. Okay, that's the hard part. This is we can use certain tools like veil evasion or phantom evasion. Those two are really good. I personally use both in like I combine both of them. So we get a shell code from veil evasion, and then we put extra decrypt the payload with phantom evasion. This could be used. It's like there's a 95% chance of you getting through the Windows Defender antivirus, but others, I'm not sure about that. But Windows Defender, there's a 95% chance you can go through. I'm saying 95 because there is a 5% chance of it's still getting detected, because you never know. Windows could have fixed the patch, released a new patch, and your payload doesn't go through. And then again, using social engineering to transfer the payload. Just like I told you before, it depends on what kind of mindset you have, how you want to do it. I want to show you guys one more thing. If you're trying to run the payload, not in your local network, but like, per se, your friend is living in some other state and you're in some other state and you want to gain access to their computer. So what you got to do is you type in, well, you don't type in IP. Well, if you're doing it on local network, you type in this IP. This is your L host. That's a local network L host and a random port. When you're trying to do it on a global scale, you have to get your personal IP using Firefox. I'm not going to show you guys how to do that. It's really basic. Just type in IP address in Google and it'll show your external IP. So once you have that, you want to port forward one of your ports. You want to get the connection back on. It doesn't matter what port you have. You can pick a random port, a working port, and you port forward that. So once you do that, when the payload sends a beacon back to your external IP and the port, and it recognizes that the port is open and the IP is listening, you'll get the metaplotter session and you will have user or admin access. It depends on what the person using the computer is on. So that's general knowledge. If you all have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section, and hope you guys liked the video. If you did, don't forget to like and drop a subscribe. It really helps. Thank you guys. Y'all have a good one.